learn. And now, to say it forward, Mr. Noel Pabiona.
Well, we all know that integrity is the state of being whole or unified. And it's adherence to a strict moral code or adherence to a set of ethical standards. In order for you to develop personal integrity, you have to have 4 of these things. Number 1 is that you must have a moral code. You cannot just say like, look, I want to be a person of integrity, I want to be known as a person of character, but you don't have a basis for your behavior. Well, in my case, my moral code, the moral code I follow, and the convictions I adhere to are in the Word of God. And I chose to do that. And I believe that the Bible is my rule for all matters of faith and practice. And it is in the Bible that I find both guidelines and guardrails in my life, which compose what I call my personal moral code, in order for me to live a life with integrity. What are guidelines? Well, imagine yourself driving on a road. Di ba may mga broken lines in the middle of the street? Which means that you keep yourself to your side of the road because there's oncoming traffic on the other side. Or other cars are also using the other side of the road. In other words, that road was not built primarily for you. You have to share it with others. And for me, the Bible has guidelines for living that allows you to respect others and to keep some distance from them in order for them to be able to develop on their own and not impose yourself on them. For example, in my family, my father is a very loving man, but he believes that even in a family situation wherein people need to be very close, respect is very important by maintaining distance. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Ano mang distansya sinasabi niya? Ibig sabihin, hindi ibig sabihin na komo tatay ako, ay pwede akong pumasok sa kwarto mo, ganun-ganun lang. Hindi ibig sabihin na magka-size kayo ng kapatid mo, ay pwede mong gamitin yung maong niya dahil pareho kayo ng waistline. Hindi ibig sabihin na kung ikaw ay nanay, nakalantad dyan yung notebook ng iyong anak, ay pwede mong buksan at basahin ang kanyang diary at alamin ang kanyang mga sikreto. Yun po yung respeto, distance. Why? He believes that all people deserve respect in the same manner that you want to be respected. Yun po yung mga guidelines. This is the way we treat other people in order that we may not clash with them. Imagine if I'm driving and there's a slow car in front of me, then I overtake because it's a broken line, and there's oncoming traffic, then nagbanggaan kami. Yung guidelines na yun prevent conflict from happening by maintaining respect of other people's territory as well. Guardrails. Ano po ba yung guardrails? Yung guardrails, these are the standards in my life that prevent me from falling off. Pare-pareho tayo, we're all humans. We're all subjected to the same temptation. And the Bible has set strict guardrails in order for you not to fall off. Now, when you're driving, you don't drive close to the guardrails. You know that the guardrail is existing, and it's meant to protect you, but you drive a bit of a distance from it in order for you not to hit it, because even with the guardrails on, you still might fall off the cliff or fall off the road. Ano po yung guardrails? Ito po yung mga standards of behavior and standards, ethical standards na nilagay ng ating Panginoon para hindi tayo malaglag. Part of that you can see in the 10 Commandments, for example. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, things like that. In order for you to be in that moral highway that the Lord wants you to be. Now, how do I practice that in my life? For example, I know and I'm very conscious that people can easily fall into money. And so I'm in a position right now as the leader of an organization that handles a lot of cash on the basis of trust. So what do I do with it? What I do is that if cash is entrusted to me, I entrust it to another person right away. Kasi in my current occupation, some people actually give me money. Love gift. Sabi nila, we're so happy with what you're doing, we're gonna give you this amount of money. And since they are foreigners, mind you, this is a huge amount of cash. And my wife and I made it a point that, you know what? We're provided well by God. We're going to use this money for other people who have urgent needs. And so for me, not to be tempted from getting or using money that I've already donated in my mind, I ask another person to handle it and tell him or her, use this for this purpose, okay? We need to help that guy, we need to build this house, we need to help this sick person. She dispenses it, and she's actually my assistant. And this is probably the reason why I have had 2 assistants leave me in the past 10 years and move on to marriage and another career. And both of them declared that, you know what? Something that I probably learned from my boss is that you actually stay away from things that might tempt you because it helps you keep your integrity. That is the importance of a moral code. You have to have a moral code. And next, the second M is you have to have a role model. Kailangan may role model ka because you have to see these ethical standards in another person's life, demonstrated in another person's life. And I'm happy that I have a very good role model in my father. You know, I just saw my father as a perfect role model for integrity. When I was young, he would bring me to his office every Saturday. They work on Saturdays, half day. And to incentivize me, he buys me ice cream, DC Comics, and I go there. And I hear people talk about my dad, nagdodrawing ako, and they tell me, your dad is such a good man. He's such an honest man. He's a man of integrity. And that stuck with me. I said, wow, my dad is known for that. I want to be like him. And so when I worked one time, and I decided like, wow, there are opportunities for me to look the other way in order for the company to make more money. Now, I know what the company was doing was wrong. And I got paid handsomely for my job. And my dad said, you know what? He calls me Junjun. Junjun, here's what I'm going to tell you. A good name is more preferred than riches. To be highly esteemed is better than silver and gold. That struck me. I said, I'm doing something wrong. I'd rather maintain the name of my dad that I carry. And he is known as a man of integrity. And that just changed me. Then have a role model. Third, have a means of accountability. You have to be accountable so that people can actually tell you like, hey, you know what? You're doing something wrong. You're violating your own standards. And you know what? It doesn't have to be a formal structure. My means of accountability, my wife, my kids. My kids would tell me like, Daddy, now, I'm just like a typical driver in Metro Manila, all right? When somebody cuts me in EDSA, I'd like to open my door and trust me. The words I will say doesn't mean I love you. Now, my kids hate that because they said, hey, you know what? That's inconsistent with who you are. So they actually tell me to stop doing it. Have a means of accountability. And last is for you to have a mentor. In my case, I have chosen older people who have logged a lot of mileage in their lives. I learn from their mistakes. They teach me lessons they have learned along the way, and it has provided a lot of information in how to stay in that moral and ethical road that the Lord wants me to maintain.